And the Lord said, this is how I'm going to multiply the harvest in Iowa.
God's going to set you up for something that when it's all said and done, it's going to be bigger than what you ever understood.
I will never forget their labor. I have seen their pushing forward in the midst of adversity.
You can stack up all the obstacles and you can gaze at the broken down walls laying on the ground, or you can say so and start stacking rocks.
We will never reach the world as long as all the preaching in your city has to happen at the address of your local church.
Stop beating yourself up and stop continuing that trend and stop sitting and wallowing in guilt. Get up and do it today, because while the best time to do it was 20 years ago, the second best time is right now.
I feel that Iowa has been long overdue for this kind of harvest.
Praise the Lord, Iowa, and welcome to Hear the Harvest, a podcast dedicated to informing and encouraging you. There will be news, event information, praise reports, prayer requests, and much more discussed on this platform. Today, we will be joined by our ladies president, Sister Tammie Allison. She is a wonderful woman of God, and I had the opportunity to ask her a few questions, so stay tuned for that. Before we get there, I would like to remind you of some upcoming events in the Iowa District. Please follow us on Facebook at Iowa District UPCI for more information on these events. The Ministers Kids Connect Retreat is next week on March 21st to March 22nd. The NAM Healthy Church Conference is kicking off on March 27th with a service into March 28th and March 29th. Ladies Conference, which you will hear more about soon, is April 3rd to April 5th. The Iowa Deaf Conference is April 25th and 26th. The Move the Mission Kickoff Rally is April 26th, and May 17th is the State Bible Quizzing Tournament. Thank you so much for listening, and now on to the interview with Sister Tammie Allison. Thank you for joining me, Sister Tammie. It's great to have you.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's pretty easy for us to be here and have this conversation because you are my pastor's wife. Even here still, we are making sure we keep separate and careful with everything that's going on. But very thankful for all that has transpired in your situation, and God has been very good to you. And so today, this is just to get to know a little bit about our ladies president. Here in a little bit, I'll have some questions regarding that. But to start out with, I do just want to have the audience get to know you a little bit on a personal level. If you could share your testimony as in-depth or as little depth as you want, just a little bit about you and who you are.
Okay, making a long story very short. I was raised in a minister's home. I had big plans for my life, not necessarily God's plans, but, as a kid, you think you know everything. Thankfully, my dad could talk some sense into me, and he told me if I would give him 1 year at Bible college, he would send me anywhere I wanted to go after that. It was never about not wanting to be saved. I just didn't want anything to do with ministry. I grew up in it. Another thing he instilled in me was God has a plan for your life, and you can follow it now and be thankful or someday wish you had. That never left the back of my mind. So I left for IBC after graduation, Indiana Bible College. I put in my year, but toward the end of that year, something changed. And during prayer, it was like God spoke. And I thought, you know what, I'm done fighting, I'm done running. I decided then and there I'm apostolic to the core. And I was going to do the very best I could to be the best apostolic I could be. I met my husband the next year, and here we are, 31 plus years later.
It's a long distance from Maryland to Iowa. What was it like for your first kind of introduction into Iowa?
The Midwest is very different than the East Coast, but truthfully, this is home now. This is where my heart is. And even when we go back to visit my family, I'm not there very long until I'm saying, take me home.
Yep, as Pastor would say, this is God's country. It's heaven on earth. To go a little bit deeper into your personal self, if you could just share a little known fact about you, and maybe this stems from that East Coast nature or how you were raised, but if there's something that maybe the audience doesn't really know about you, if they don't know you too personal, just something simple.
I was in band from 4th grade through my sophomore year of high school and then again in Bible college. And because of that, I did marching band. I love band shows, band field competitions especially, and I can't help but watching parades. I enjoy the bands. I love Bibles. I used to collect little ones, but I can't see them now, so.
That's fair. Well, yeah, I'd say that unless somebody knew you from 4th grade to past Bible college or into Bible college, I'd say that they probably didn't know that about you. With that being said, and now that people kind of know you a little bit if they didn't before, well, what's a spiritual discipline that has developed you as a woman of God?
Prayer, really, the Word, and reading. Brother Mooney always said readers are leaders, and I still admire him to this day. So those pieces. In my later years, especially since the advent of the internet and the ability to watch things, I watch a lot of preaching and teaching, and I'm very particular. I don't just watch just anybody and everybody. I want to surround myself with people who have lived the life I want to live. And because of that, I've also asked God to surround me with the people that will help me continue to grow in Him. And it's been interesting, the people that have unexpectedly shown up in my life. Not people I've gone seeking, but just people that I know God placed there, relationships that have formed, and they've made a difference. I want to hear Him above all the noise and clamor in this world. And this is a very noisy world anymore, but I want to hear Him, and I want to love like Jesus, that my life would be a vessel of honor to Him. And that's a prayer I pray every day. Let my life, whatever I do today, wherever you send me, let my life be a vessel of honor. I just want others to see Him when they look at me.
Amen. That's all we can do, right? Just
That's
know
it.
Him and be like Him,
be
right?
Be the best I can be.
We make it complicated sometimes. You are the ladies president of Iowa, and with that comes a few responsibilities. And I'm just wondering if you could share, kind of like how we did last time with Brother Inger, he shared about the responsibilities of being a presbyter. If you could just share a little bit in case people don't know what you are responsible for as ladies president.
Overall, to oversee all of ladies ministries projects and activities. One of the things I am trying to do is implement the ladies on a national level, the ladies ministries, introduce them more to Iowa, because honestly, when I went to General Conference, because that's another thing, represent the district by attending those meetings. And when I went the first time, I honestly was not aware of all the things that ladies ministries as a whole covers. So that was a big thing. I meet with the district board. I meet with the ladies committee several times a year, actually, setting out the budget, setting out our plans. And anybody that we bring in under us, like Today's Christian Girl, Ladies Prayer, and WOW, which is Women of Worth, widowed pastors or ministers' wives. Those are 3, and Able Ministries. We now have all of those up and running in the district. So just overseeing all of that, kind of keeping it all together.
And Ladies Ministries supports a lot of other departments as well. It's not just within Ladies Ministries, but I know that you guys give scholarships for Bible college students, right? So I was going to ask you about those different ministries, but you kind of talked about them. So if you could just maybe go into a little bit about each of those. What is Able Ministries? What is WOW, Women of Worth?
Women of Worth is widowed ministers' wives. And, as we're aging, we're seeing more and more of that. Able Ministries is dedicated to assisting the special needs and disabled populations within the church and the community. So basically, how can we make our churches more welcoming to families with special needs? Again, we're seeing a lot more of that. Yeah. Pure ministry is a path worth taking, a ministry to retain our identity in this world as His chosen people, set apart and called to work. Ladies' Prayer is exactly what it sounds like. Committed to the spiritual preservation of this generation. Hope is a ministry to provide a network of loving support and resources for women in crisis. And then Today's Christian Girl, a ministry where individual churches form clubs and hold monthly meetings, or however they set that up for themselves, for the purpose of teaching and training our young girls. I see that really as Titus 2.
Covers everything.
Yes, and not to mention foreign mission, home missions. Again, we do the Bible college scholarships, ladies conference, multicultural ministries just between us, which is Pastors' Wives Retreat in the district, and 2B is a Ministers' Wives session that we hold at ladies conference. We help support Marriage Retreat. We help support the Connect Retreat, which is the preacher's kids. Yes. And this past year, we also gave to the hurricane victims in the Carolinas. And we support Bible quizzing, Sunday school camp, the grant fund. Basically, we're the help me.
Yeah,
go back to Genesis.
I was just going to say that. I was going to say, and you know, you've taught a message in the past about it was more so the role of mothers, but I guess it can totally apply to just women in general about being a covering, being an umbrella. And I was going to bring up that the ladies' ministries is totally a helpmeet to other ministries, but you also provide an experience for ladies and women in the church who want to be involved and want to grow. I guess you've kind of covered it because I was going to ask you the vision of the ladies department, but I guess more specifically, is there a theme or a vision for 2025 within the ladies department?
Our Mother's Memorial theme is crowned, and it's taken from Esther, for such a time as this. Overall, and honestly, that's kind of been my heartbeat for quite some time, and I have poured that into my own girls. You're not here by mistake. Right. You're not here just because. You're here because God needs you in his kingdom. But that applies to men and women. That's not just a ladies thing. Overall, the ladies ministry department is to equip and mobilize apostolic ladies for the world service in the kingdom. That's what we do. Right. And the Iowa motto is excellence from many. We can't do this by ourselves. Right. And we need each other. We need the sisterhood. So that's
awesome.
Yes.
Okay. The vision is crowned. Well, we are recording this to be released in March, and there will be about 3 weeks until Ladies Conference, right? Which is coming up is that April 3rd to the 5th. We want to give you a little opportunity to promote that and speak about that to anyone who maybe is not aware or is on the fence about going, and tell them why they should go.
Oh, you should go because it's an amazing event that we put together. I've gone since I lived here, so 30 plus years for me, and there are some ladies who have gone ever since it started. This year we have Sister Bertha Scoggins coming as our main speaker. Sister Melinda Poitras is coming as our breakout speaker, or our teacher. We have a group from Urshan coming to do music. So this year we're trying to give all of our ladies a break. Just you show up, just be there. We have several breakout sessions. Hope will be done by Sister Ellen Crozier. Pure by Sister Nancy Croteau. To Be will be covered with Sister Bertha Scoggins. Becoming, which is that 16 to 23 age group, will be done by one of the new graduates from Urshan, who's now a mom and in ministry. She's licensed herself. So how do you balance all of that? And then one of the girls from Urshan is also doing hairstyles. Sister Melinda Poitras will do a session on discipleship and time management. We hear that a lot. I want to do this, but I don't have time. Right. So how do we fit all of this together? We're at the Embassy Suites downtown this year, which is new for all of us. It's an amazing facility, and it comes with a breakfast. And these are suites. They're not just singular hotel rooms, so you have some space. So we're really excited about that. And new this year is we're doing gift basket giveaways at the beginning of every service, and you have to be present to win. So it's important to be timely if you want to be winning a gift basket.
Do you know how much it costs for registration and hotel?
Sure. The registration is $60 until March 24th, and then it goes up to $75. If you come for an individual service, they're just $25 a piece. Well,
I want to close this off by tying everything together from you as an individual who's trying to walk with God, as a pastor's wife, ladies president, and an organizer. I kind of want to give you an opportunity to speak to a young lady who might be listening to this podcast, who is really trying to serve the Lord and trying to walk with God. What would you say to them? And maybe you can kind of take this as a what would you say to a younger version of yourself, if you could.
In all of this downtime I have had recently, I've had a lot of time to think about a lot of stuff, which is probably why God has me being still. Not a good place for me.
Yeah.
Not a place I like to be, let's put it that way, because it has been very good. But it's all about relationship. I wish I would have learned that earlier, a whole lot earlier. Get in the Word and pray. Make it a priority at the start of every single day. I have a devotional by Sarah Young, and she said it this way: save your best striving for seeking His face. Submit yourself to the word, not my will, but yours be done. Pray that every single day, because our flesh likes to have its own way. Tuck yourself under the protection of your pastor and pastor's wife. Your friend group matters. Ask God to put the right people in your life that will help you grow. Be very intentional about what you take in through media, songs, books, literature. Take your eyes off this world and its influencers. They have nothing for us. Get your eyes on Jesus and be about the kingdom and his purpose. Choose you this day. Nothing is stronger than a made-up mind.
That's right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And when you make up your mind, it gets a whole lot easier.
That's right.
As I said earlier, my biggest regret is not developing this discipline earlier in life. I was a little lazy having a minister for a dad, and I've talked to you about this a little bit. And then I married a preacher, so
Yeah.
if I needed something, needed prayer, had a question, I asked.
Right.
You know, I didn't have to do that for myself. I'm not encouraging that. That's terrible. I don't care if you're a preacher's kid or not.
Right.
You develop your own prayer life. Love God, love people. Everything else is going to take care of itself. We were called to the kingdom again for such a time as this. You are a light, a city set on a hill, and God does not make mistakes.
Amen.
Ever. Silence every voice that tells you you're not enough, that you've gone too far, that God doesn't want you. He loves you. Ladies ministry loves you, and this district loves you.
Awesome. I'm sure everybody will be encouraged and empowered by that, but I especially pray that all the women who are listening to this are encouraged to just keep moving forward, striving, like you said, for God's presence, for his word, and that we would see this harvest spread, right? That's the whole point of this podcast is that we want to hear the harvest. We want to hear about what's going on. And it's going to start when we take a step back and realize that God is on our side. We can do all things through him. I hope someone feels encouraged today. And I appreciate you being on here. And you have any last words you'd like to say before we close this off?
I think I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Well, God bless you, and
Thank you.
thank you for listening.